impressed you guys have time to homeschool 4 kids and run this business.
But we have boundaries in place because what's most important to us is family time, exposure to the world, building into people, pouring out resources, being a blessing is what we're here for.
You're not trading your time for money, basically.
And that's it. And most people are absolutely trading their time for money.
Yeah.
And the killer is, money comes and goes, but time only goes. And so, I mean, you're left trading your most finite resource, the most valuable resource you have.
A lot of your friends or people you know that are like multi-millionaires, they're still always asking you, like, bro, you're so free, you do so much. And he's like, dude, you could be that way too. You make more money than I do. Like, what's the holdup? Even real estate people.
It's a boundary issue. It's that people won't protect what's most important. That's what it comes down to.
All right, guys, from Dallas, we got Jason and Jacqueline here. We're going to talk midterm rentals and life. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Come on, thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is a space I know nothing about, so you're going to have to start from the basics with me. What exactly is a midterm rental?
So midterm, everyone knows what a short-term rental is, right? That's basically 30 days or less. A midterm is going to be anything that falls into 30 days or more. So you
fully
get to
furnished.
Yep.
All the same stuff as like a short term, but 30 days or more.
And you get to avoid blocks like HOA saying, we don't allow short-term rental. We don't allow any rentals less than 30 days. You get past that a lot of times. There's some crazy HOAs that are trying to do something like nothing less than a year now, but it's really rare. But yeah, basically we're providing housing, and we specialize in the iMTR market, which is insurance midterm rentals. So let's say like you take off, you're in New York for the weekend, you come back and you're like, my toilet just, all the water's on the floor, the filler just leaked or whatever it is. And you have a potential mold problem. You're like, what do I do? You call your insurance and they're like, okay, we're going to move you to another place because there's a mold hazard or there's just too much construction to do. You can't be living there. And wherever you go to, that's what we're trying to provide housing for.
Got it. Yeah, it sounds like it's less headaches, right?
A lot less headaches. Yeah, we've done
My
long-term.
favorite part about it is the tenants.
We've done short-term.
They're amazing. They're homeowners. So it's like we love the tenants. That's our favorite thing about iMTR, more than the money.
Right, because they're homeowners. They're looking for an in-between spot to stay while their new home's done, basically.
They are. And they're people that are nearby. They generally want to stay someplace that's near their kid's school, near their work, whatever. And they just want to stay there until their home's done. So they're not trying to squat. No one's squatting. They're not even paying out of pocket because it's coming out of their insurance.
Oh,
right?
wow.
So they're just happy to be someplace, and we try to provide the nicest place possible.
Yeah, that's legit. I didn't know insurance companies were covering this.
Oh, absolutely. So we call it a win-win-win. The insurance company wants to get them taken care of and get them out of the house while repairs are done, right? And then they themselves, they just want a nice place to land in while their home gets fixed up.
Right.
And they want convenience. They want, we want them to walk in and be like, wow, yeah, I'd love to stay here. And then us, we love taking care of them, and then we make great money doing it.
Yeah, that's cool. You guys do this in Dallas?
We do. Yeah, we've done it in, I think, 5 or 6 states. We pulled back this last year and consolidated a little bit. We've done it in Florida, Indiana, Ohio, where else? Tennessee, California. California is where we started. We're originally from LA. So that's
I don't get LA vibes from you guys at all.
Yeah,
that's why we're not there anymore.
It's down there. We got roots, but yeah, we've been in Fort Worth.
Let's get
Dallas,
Grant Cardone in there and turn it around, and we might just buy a place there again.
Hey, come
for
on.
half the year.
Come on.
I was there during COVID and I hated it.
Oh,
That's when I moved
we moved in January 2020.
So right when it started?
Texas,
Just before.
Just before.
Before it started.
Yeah,
Literally 2 months before.
Because
Wow.
lockdowns dropped in March.
Yeah, talk about good timing.
Oh, best timing.
Because you would have been screwed if you waited 2 months.
Done. And I traveled there a number of times just because we still had family there, we still had business there, and it was the worst.
Dude,
I mean, couldn't even do anything without
I moved there at the worst time, and I lasted 5 months. And then I came to Vegas. Yeah. It wasn't planned. I drove here, stayed at the MGM for a month looking for a house. Because everyone was leaving LA to move to everywhere, so it's hard to find a house around that time. Super hard.
I remember my best friend visited from California to Texas in 2021, and she brought her new baby that was born in 2020. And she's like, oh my gosh, he has never seen people. He's never been out. Like, we went to a restaurant. He was like, it's his first time at church. It's his first time here. I'm like, dude, he's almost a year old. How is this? But it was such a paradigm shift because Texas, we were like living pretty much normal.
Yeah, Texas and Florida handled it well.
Yeah.
You guys could do whatever you wanted, right?
I mean, I was a bit surprised on that they still had restrictions that were as strong as they were. I was expecting Texas to be totally free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was legit like quarantine recommendations.
I would say when the uncertainty was there, which I mean, we all were like, "What's going on?"
It was a couple of
the
months.
First few months,
Yeah. It was a couple of months, and I was
reasonable.
Kind of thinking like, this kind of feels like California. But when I went back to California, I was like, okay, that is not California.
Yeah.
This is California.
Yeah.
I remember her brother came out to visit in the middle. It was like a year and a half in or something.
Yeah.
And he came to visit from California. And he's like, we took him to a restaurant, the barbecue spot, and it's filled with people. No one's masked up.
Band is playing.
Employees aren't masked up. Nobody. And he's like, I don't know what to do right now. Like, this feels crazy.
And then he moved shortly thereafter.
Oh, he moved there?
Texas.
A lot of people moved to Texas.
Never thought he would, but my whole family moved slowly but surely, and his mom just moved last weekend.
Wow. Real estate went up a lot, right? In Dallas?
Too much.
Ooh.
Too much?
Yeah.
Well, you got in at 2020, so you're probably chilling, right?
But we keep buying, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Plus the interest rates. And,
Yeah.
What is it, 7% now?
Yeah, it's around there.
Yeah.
We do some sub-2 stuff to kind of avoid that, but
Shout out to Pace.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That stuff is crazy.
Yeah, it's
Sub 2.
amazing.
It's great right now.
So you were able
Not
to,
know what's possible.
yeah, you guys were actually able to get a house using that
We
strategy?
got 2 last year. Sub-2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I tried out here and I couldn't do it.
Man, you got to stay on top of it.
Well, my price range is too high, I think,
Oh, you're trying to get it for your homestead.
for my home. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm.
Yeah. So when they're over $1 million, I feel like it's harder.
Yeah, it's harder to cherry pick. That's what I told him. I'm like, we'll just take what we can, find the good stuff for rentals, and then when we want to find like whatever we're looking for, we're gonna have to just find it on MLS.
Yeah.
'Cause it's too. You'll wait forever to find the right.
And if something does pop in, you got to be in the first.
Be
10 minutes.
quick,
I
right?
mean, yeah, you got to be on top of it.
Yeah, because it's probably competitive now because Pace taught thousands of people that strategy.
There's so many people. I mean, she posts something in the group, and like 5 of our friends are like, "I saw you posted something."
I know, like right away.
Oh, the Facebook group?
Yeah,
You guys got a group?
Oh,
Pace's free
Paces,
group.
yeah.
Oh, in Pace's group, yeah.
I don't know if you follow that one.
I think I'm in there,
Creative
yeah.
Real estate with Pace Morby.
Yeah.
Amazing group.
I'm actually going to his event next month in Dallas.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
nice. We might be there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
March 28th, Jordan Peterson.
Oh, that's right. We're not going to be there because we're going to Turkey on that actual day.
Turkey.
Flying out. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Why are you going to Turkey?
Yeah, we're leading a missional trip to Turkey. So we're taking all of our crew, our family. So 6 of us. We have 4 kids. 1 on the way.
Congrats.
And then thank you.
Thanks.
And then we're leading a team. Some of them coming over from our church. Some just someone coming over from Australia. We got a team member from like North Carolina, California. Just kind of a nice spread. Louisiana, and we're just gonna hit the ground out there. We're gonna land in Istanbul. We're gonna be out there about 2 weeks, something like that. Maybe just under. We're gonna hit Cyprus and just pour into the local community, bless them as much as we can, bring goods. And just bring love. And then we're going to ultimately spend our last week in Hatay region, the southern region.
Where the earthquake was, if you remember, a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Turkey.
right in
That
Syria.
earthquake.
Okay.
And we're just, there's still a ton of refugees and still a lot of rebuilding, even from 2 years ago.
Wow.
And we're just going to help build tiny homes and just love on the people there.
Man, you guys really give back. You know, it's impressive. Like, you don't have to do that, you know?
I think that's what life's about, you know?
Part of our calling for sure.
Yeah, but I think it's everybody because you talk to enough people that are really wealthy,
Yeah.
and at some point, nothing brings fulfillment anymore. And you see, the only thing that they have left to turn to is like philanthropic,
Right.
exercises. And so, like, they're trying to find some way to give back, and I think that's just because you're not really going to find fulfillment in finite items. You can be a car guy. I love driving. I love cars. But I mean, let me give you an example. When we were first married, we were not well off at all, and we were looking for a car. I thought we were going to get a Volkswagen, and we found this car. It was this special Porsche Boxster. It was on eBay. It was like a dream car, but it was like an hour drive away. And she's like, "We should go drive out and
it was the
go
same
check it out."
price as.
And it was the same price.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
listening
wow.
the same price as the Volkswagen we were looking at, right? So I'm like,
come
let's go
on.
check it out. So we go out there, and the guy's like, do you want to test drive it? He's like a boutique dealer. I'm like, yes, please. So I jump in, and I'm like, this thing's wild. So he tells me about it. He's like, I don't know where this thing came from. I got it on auction. Nobody knows where it came from. I pulled some part numbers, and they're like German part numbers. I don't know if it was just some rich guy that sent the car over to there and brought it back after all the work was done or what.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. And nobody was bidding on eBay. And it was like pristine condition. So we did a handshake deal. We didn't have funding, nothing. I didn't even know how we were going to pay for it. Handshake deal, $23,000, right? And we go back, and I'm like, okay, we got to find some sort of funding for this, some way to like pay for it. And sure enough, we got funding. But one night I was up late, and I'm like, if this car is something, like, it's someone in the community's got to know something. So I'm like pulling up Google search, like looking for black Porsche Boxsters, and I see a picture in Google Images, and I'm like, this is it. Click on it. Sure enough, it's it. It was the cover car for European Car Magazine, June 2002 or something like that. And it said everything that was done to it. It was built by this guy who raced for Porsche in Le Mans one year, and it was his like kind of fun track car.
Court Wagner, shout out.
Shout out. Yeah, I never met him, but shout out. He built this great car.
Great car.
It's a 911 engine transplant, GT3 suspension all around. We're talking about like $75,000 or $100,000 in upgrades, and we did a handshake deal for $23,000. Right? And so the guy calls me the next day, and he's like, "Hey, I found the car. I know where it's from." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yep. There's an article on it." I'm like, "Kidding me?" He's like, "European Car Magazine." He's like, "But because we made the deal, I'm going to honor it." And that's how we got it. But all that to say, I ended up with this car that I didn't deserve. Shout out to my wife who encouraged it. She's crazy like that, and I love her. But I used to drive. I was a trainer at this point. I was working at an upscale gym in North LA County. And I would drive that car once or twice a week. But if I drove it like 4 or 5 times a week, like it felt like overindulgence. I just didn't enjoy it the same amount. Yeah. And I think that's what it's like when you're just constantly trying to find fulfillment in things, because you get to it's like you're climbing this ladder. You get to the top, and like, what's there? Like nothing. So you got to find something else, and you're continually climbing ladders. But I think there's like this longing in our heart, or you can say like a hole in our heart, something that's lacking, and we're continually trying to fill it with finite items, but we never reach the true fulfillment. There's a temporal happiness, but not a long-term fulfillment. Yeah. And I think you only get that in relationships. I think horizontal relationships, and then vertical relationships especially, and then pouring out and using these things. Just a lot of people, they think that these finite items that they're chasing after are like the end, but in reality, it's a terrible end. It's like they make terrible master, but great servant. And so if you can use these things to build into other people, bless other people, then man, it's so fulfilling, so enjoyable. I remember this one time I was driving that Porsche, and we were in like downtown LA, and there was a homeless guy, and I got into my car, and he's like, "That is an awesome car." I'm like, "You want to go for a ride?" He's like, "No way." And I'm like, "Yeah, hop in." He goes in. He's like, "Hey, can you go around the block? My girlfriend's over there. I want to wave to her while we're driving by." I'm like, "Absolutely."
That's funny.
But at the end of the day, what's a thing to enjoy if you're just enjoying it for yourself and not sharing it with anybody? I think it's just leads nowhere.
I love that. Yeah, I used to have a phase of buying material goods, but I'm over it now. It's not like sustainable.
It's not.
Yeah, I bought watches, cars, and it didn't bring any long-term happiness.
That's the thing. It's like you never arrive at whether it's a car guy or a real estate guy or whatever, you never arrive at a point where you're just like, I have enough now. It
never ends.
It keeps going on and on and on. And then at some point you just got to realize the purpose is not found here. Yeah. It's just a means.
That's why I'd rather spend money on experiences.
Absolutely.
Over physical items.
100%. Yeah. Us too.
Yeah. Yeah, nice little vacation or something out of town, Yeah. Little staycation sometimes in Vegas. Yeah. Those are much better ROIs.
I'm an introvert too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Social introvert, but nonetheless, I need that personal time. But I think
Also getting married, like you're about to get married.
Yeah.
Having kids, like that's deeply meaningful.
For sure.
And I think our society, our culture is coming back around to realizing that because probably for the last like 50 years, it's been like, pursue, your dreams, and kids get in the way of that and all that. And we're kind of realizing like, oh, wait, there actually is something deeply spiritual and meaningful in doing these like traditional things.
Yeah. I saw that a lot with my generation. A lot of guys I grew up with didn't want kids, but now I'm messaging them and they want kids.
Yep.
But in their young 20s, they definitely didn't.
Yep.
And it's wild, right? Because now they're older, and now, there could be complications, or it could be hindrances, or it's not as easy.
Right. Yeah, they waited too long, some of them, because some of these women now are 35, 40. They can't really have kids as easy.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
When I met her, she didn't want kids.
Oh, really?
For sure.
What made you change your
I was
mind?
in that same category because I was also very like already entrepreneur and like, so I want to start my own business and I want to do this and that. And I don't know. I kind of bought into the whole thing. Like the Earth's overpopulated anyway. If we're gonna have a kid, we should just adopt one that's already in existence. Why do we need to make more? Probably a little bit of the like, I don't want to get pregnant and get big and like birth a baby and all that.
Right.
Probably a little, but I just had a shift. I think one day a friend of mine, when we were living abroad, we lived in Shanghai 6 years, and just on a walk with one of my girlfriends, and she's like, so when are you guys gonna have kids and this and that? And I said, oh, I don't think we really want kids. We're just really content. We travel so much. We have so much fun together. And she said like, wow, have you prayed about that? Have you asked God about that? And I was just like, I'm a strong believer. I ask God about all kinds of things. I'm not asking him about this. I was like, I've already made up my mind. What do I need his opinion for? And then so it kind of just led me to journal about it, think about it more, pray about it, and boom, heart shift. And then we adopted our son. Shortly after.
So you adopted the first one?
Yeah, first one.
From China.
From China?
Yeah.
Wow, I have an adopted cousin from China.
No way.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You look like you could be like 1/4.
I'm half.
Half Chinese?
Yeah.
会说中文吗?
I wish I could speak it. My mom's biggest regret is not teaching me Mandarin, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, but she was born there, and she came here with $20 and worked her way to become a self-made millionaire. American dream.
On.
Yeah, $20.
Have you interviewed her? We need to watch.
She's
that
coming
one.
on. Yeah, she'll be my 1500th episode.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that is so cool.
Talk about how she raised me and why I am the way I am, and because she was a single-parent household actually. So she did well, I think. Oh yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my mom. When I was conceived non-consensually.
Damn.
Yeah. And,
Holy crap.
And my mom was 17 years old when she had me.
Jeez.
And she's first generation. So her mom was from Argentina, Buenos Aires, and her father was from Italy. And she was dating somebody kind of short term, not for very long. And one night this thing went down. It was not consensual, not necessarily violent, but it was a no. And then that was her first time having any sort of sexual experience whatsoever.
Holy crap.
And all of a sudden she got pregnant, and when she found out, her dad was pretty livid with her.
With her?
She was like the black sheep at that point.
Wow.
Even though obviously it wasn't her choice, but they were kind of a traditional Catholic family, and she was kind of looked at as like the outcast of them. And so she would go to school, come home, and then she'd be relegated to her room after school.
Damn.
And so she was thinking, there's no way I can have this baby, because if I don't have support, from my own father, then what am I going to do? And she was never, she told me she was never thinking abortion, but she was definitely thinking like adoption.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be the answer. And then she said one day she was sitting in her room and she heard the audible voice of God, and she wasn't religious. And he said, I love your baby, and if you keep it, I'll take care of it. And so at that point, she decided, all right, I'm keeping this baby.
Holy crap.
And she was a great mom. And then, he did. He's taking care of me. He takes care of me. I mean, I've been blessed beyond belief. I think he takes care of everybody. But, there's special themes on people's lives. And looking back in hindsight, like I see it. I see times where things should have been different. But, I was spared. And she met my dad that raised me when I was about 3, and that's who I call Dad. He ultimately adopted me, and I carry his name, and I love him.
Wow.
He taught me discipline, hard work, lots of things that I didn't have, and then I ended up
Working
meeting
on cars.
Yeah, lots of things.
That's a good skill.
And
AI can't replace that one.
bro, it's true.
So true.
And then I
Beautiful.
ended up meeting my biological father when I was 30.
Oh, you met him?
Yeah, I did. And then I found out that I have another brother and sister.
Wow.
Besides the brother and sister that I was raised with.
So you made amends with him, or how was that?
I did. I never had enmity like in my heart towards him. And I also I don't have like father problems. Like I don't have like, I don't feel like, I never felt like, oh man, who's my biological dad? I need to find him and like fix something, or like heal these wounds. I think, and it goes back to that promise that was spoken over me. Like I've always been taken care of, and I have so many people that have been spiritual fathers to me and functionally fathers to me, and they've even so many people have called me like a son.
Wow.
They called me their son or like a son. I mean, I'm talking about more than a handful of prominent people in my life over the years, in addition to my own dad that raised me. So I think it wasn't hard for me to meet him. It's not hard for me to maintain a relationship with him. We're very different, but we're alike in some ways too, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think it's tough walking around with bitterness, and I don't think that's any way to live.
No.
Some people say, like I've heard it said, being bitter towards someone is like pouring a glass of poison for the person that you're bitter towards, and then drinking it yourself.
And expecting them to die.
Expecting them to die.
No, I see that. That happened with my
How
dad.
about you with your dad? Yeah, have you?
Yeah, so divorced at 10, but we were close. But his problem was with his parents. He got physically abused. He grew up on a farm, and he never forgave. So this bitterness you're talking about, I saw it every day in him. He never forgave his parents. And the night his mother passed, she came to me in my dreams.
No way.
Yeah, she's never been in my dream before that. And I was holding her hand trying to find my father. She wanted to say goodbye. But because he was so closed off and never forgave them, they didn't get a proper goodbye.
Wow.
Which is super sad. So like,
Do you still talk to him to this day? I mean,
he passed away now. Yeah, but I saw.
young. You're
I know
so young.
he was 64, but man, he had a lot of damage from that childhood. Some people just never recover, I think.
Has that shifted something in you, that experience?
Made me want to become a really good parent, hands-on, and just a better like partner with my fiance, honestly, because I saw the trauma. They fought a lot, my mom and my dad. So I had memories of them just screaming at each other. I got one vivid memory of them pulling on each arm.
Of yours?
Yeah, and making me pick who to hang out with that weekend. Dang. So that's a big one I have. So just being around that environment definitely stuck with me, because that stuff doesn't leave you, when you're a child.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
Wow.
But I learned a lot from it.
Divorce sucks.
You will
Always
be.
does.
You'll be a good dad.
Yeah. Yeah, divorce was tough.
You just need to reduce your hours a little bit when you become a dad.
Get them in while you can.
Well, I know it's a full-time job being a parent, so I'm going to definitely be prepared for that when the time comes.
It's precious,
It depends
man.
how you want to do it. But like with him, I was like, if you're going to be at a 9 to 5 all day, every day, I do not want to have like kids. I just can't do all the things by myself.
Yeah, it's tough. And you guys have 5, right? 4?
Yeah.
4
This will be
kids.
4 plus 1. Yeah.
1 on the way. Wow.
Yeah.
How many were adopted?
Just
One.
that.
Oh, just the first one.
As a matter of fact, how long after we committed to adopting him? Did we?
5 days later.
5 days later.
So
Whoa.
we said yes to adopting him, and he moved in. And then 5 days later, found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
So 9 months later,
Holy crap.
In China.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys were there for 6 years, huh?
6 years. Yeah.
What were you doing out there?
It was just the answer to a prayer, a simple prayer. We got married in 2010 in Malibu, California, and when I proposed to her, she was living in China. She graduated Pepperdine, flew out there, was living out there. She's crazy. She knew one person, and she was just living. And we came off this crazy hard breakup, and then we started talking again. We thought we'd never talk again, and then all of a sudden things were healing up, and then I flew out there, and I surprise proposed to her, and she said yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right after a breakup?
Not right after
it was
breakup.
like
No,
6 months or
we had
7.
5 months we didn't speak a word to each other.
Damn.
And I thought we would never speak again. It was heartbreaking for me because she was actually my first real only girlfriend.
Yeah.
I mean, I just had extremely high standards and like never dated. I got close to dating 2 people in my entire life before that. And so when we broke up, I thought she was the one for sure. You know?
Right.
And then I was just every morning I woke up, I'm like, oh, like, oh. But God was good. He was nearby. I think he's near the brokenhearted. That's a promise in Scripture.
Wow.
And so anyway, things happened on both of our ends. And then right before she moved to China, she reached out to have an in-person meeting. And at first I said no, and then I recanted. I said yes. And then at the end of that meeting, I remember it was supposed to be like a pretty short meeting, half an hour or something, an hour. We talked for like 3 or 4 hours.
Dang.
At this place, Alcove Cafe, right? And we had cheesecake.
I love cheesecake.
Oh, cheesecake's our wedding cake was the cheesecake.
Oh,
5-2.
you got me
Yeah.
thinking about my wedding cake now.
Come on,
Oh,
bro.
you have to do it.
I love cheesecake.
Best.
Oh, yeah. It was the best. Nobody knew it, too, because it was...
I'm gonna tell my fiance after this.
Bro. So, at the end, man, we were talking, like I said, 3-4 hours. And then she's like, so can I stay in touch with you? And like, my mind's going, no, no more heartbreak. And then I watched it come out of my mouth. Sure. I'm like, what did I just say? But that's how we started talking again. And then, so after she moved out there, we talked for a good couple of months. And then after that, I was like, okay, she's the one. Like, we both kind of know that this is what's going to go down. So I flew out there, no notice, didn't tell anybody except for our families. I asked her dad and her mom for her hand in marriage.
Wow.
They both gave me a
said
thumbs up.
yes.
And her brother and sister. So I asked
Wow, you asked 4 of her family.
Yeah. And then I told my parents. And then I flew out there. My clients were like, they showed up, and I wasn't there. I had a replacement trainer training them those days. And I had this whole day planned out for her, and it was being filmed by a friend of ours. She thought it was a production for something in China.
Smooth.
But yeah, so the whole day, I sent her things to do, this roadmap to follow, and money in envelopes for her to spend at these places. And then it ended at this restaurant overlooking the Bund.
3 on the Bund.
3 on the Bund. And she's there, and she's text messaging me. She's like, man, this is so nice. It's kind of sad because it's the food, they're starting to serve me now. Food, it looks so good, but I just wish you were here. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I could be there.
He walked in.
And then I walked
Oh
in.
my God.
Are so beautiful.
You were singing?
I was, and I'm not a singer.
Wow.
Never ever sang to me. That was the first time.
And so she said yes. We moved back to LA, and then we moved into my condo. That's kind of what started us on the iMTR gig ultimately. But we moved in there. We were working a job. She was teaching Mandarin Chinese at a private school. I was training and teaching PE. I had a really cush job set up with the best clients ever. And then she's like, all of a sudden one day, she's tugging on my sleeve. She's like, I don't think our time in China's done. Like, I really don't.
That started like even like before we got married.
Hinting at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, babe, this is not something we can just try. Like, I got 8 years worth of clients that I'm still with, and like this really cush setup. And so I'm like, well, if we're going to do this, let's pray about it. We got to pray about this, and let's just give it to God. So we just said a simple prayer. Father, we'd like to go back to China. And we asked that if it would please you, you would open up a door for us. And if not, then we'll stay in LA. And that was it. That was the prayer. And like, we didn't have too much money back then. We put aside $500 a month just in case to be able to fund us to get out there if it were to go down, but we didn't know. And I don't know if it was 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. It was pretty shortly thereafter. Friends of ours from Shanghai reached out. The husband was Taiwanese. The wife was Indonesian Chinese, but from Toronto. And they're like, hey, we're going to go back to Toronto because we're pregnant. We're going to have our first child there. And we're just thinking about you guys and wondering if you guys would want to house sit for the summer. Like, you just stay at our house.
Wow.
And they didn't know what our prayer was. We didn't tell anybody. They didn't have a clue. And I'm like, it's so obvious. People were like, were you scared? Like, how could you just leave everything? But like, we asked for it. A door opened wide up.
Literally,
they have tons of. They could ask anybody in Shanghai to house sit for them, but they asked us in LA.
Wow.
And so we just dropped everything and moved out there. And we thought it would be indefinitely, but we ended up staying there for 6 years. And then we came back with our son, our daughter, who was born there, our first daughter, and then 2 dogs, 2 whippets.
Oh, what caused you guys to come back? Was it another prayer?
It was actually
The adoption.
it was the adoption. Yeah, it was a pretty tricky adoption that we had to do.
The one in China, the first one?
Yeah, the adoption of our son.
Yeah.
So we were disqualified from adoption on 2 counts, and so we had to like finagle the system. China's now closed adoptions, international adoptions now. So
Oh, wow.
so
Such a bummer.
I wonder why they did that.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what, adoption is just a laundering scheme. It's crazy.
No way.
Oh yeah. Oh,
So much money.
it's an industry.
Wow.
It's terrible. They would tell us, and I'm sure it's everywhere. If it's this way across the globe, but they would tell us like, okay, so here are the steps that you're going to do. You're going to go to this place. Make sure you bring crisp $100 bills and this amount of them
For
to
a
give to this person.
donation.
What the heck?
Donation.
That's
Yeah,
weird.
Bro, it was like $30,000 or $40,000 at the end
Yeah.
of it all.
For one kid?
And you're taking a kid off their payroll, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
Holy crap.
And he was special needs, brain injured, severe,
Oh, yeah.
hydrocephalus. All
Oh,
those
did you
things.
know that?
Yeah. We knew.
Oh,
We
okay.
met him before we. Yeah.
yeah, we knew him beforehand.
Yeah, my cousin was brain injured too, but they didn't tell my aunt. Yeah, they hid it.
No
That's the
way.
worst.
Yeah, I don't know if they knew, but yeah, she had a bunch of mental disorders and stuff.
But another little fun, like financial aspect of it was, literally, we got Mateo. That's our son. We got him into our house in December. We were like watching him in December,
Yeah.
fostering. Like we hadn't decided to adopt him yet because we thought he was being adopted by somebody else. And it was January 1st that we got our first iMTR client. So we went from renting long term,
Yeah.
getting like $1,500 or maybe $2,000 a month.
Negative cash flow.
Oh, it's negative?
Yeah,
cash
because we were
flow.
upside down. It was right after the crash. I'd refinanced at the height of the market.
Oh, 08 crash?
Exactly. In North LA County, a condo less than 1,000 square foot, and then I refinanced at 330,000, and then it dumped, and I was super underwater.
Damn.
This
Didn't know what to
estimate
do.
was like 150 or
Holy
something.
crap.
It was something
so
crazy.
bad.
Maybe it was 200. Or
No,
two
it was
something.
in the ones. It was in the ones.
Damn.
It was like
It was bad.
I mean, everyone was like bankruptcy or foreclosure or whatever. But so at the same time, so then our long-term tenants of years wanted to break their lease early and leave by January 1st. And just so happened, this crazy fluke, there was a gas leak in the valley over, and Southern California Gas was paying like billions of dollars to rehouse thousands of families in neighboring areas.
Oh, wow.
And so my mom found out about it, was like, you got to get your condo on the list. Maybe one of these insurance companies will rent your house. And it just so happened because his sister is one of the renters. We left that house like half furnished. When we moved to China, we were like, is it cool if we just leave all the beds and, you can rent out the rooms, whatever. And so at the same time, we get this boy that we say yes to, whose name is Mateo, a gift from God. But then it's like a gift that you have to pay, $38 for. But then we got this iMTR contract that was supposed to be for 1 month, 2 months to start.
2 months to start.
2 months to start, and they gave us $7,000 a month, and they ended
Damn.
up paying 5.5 months.
They
Holy
pushed it out to 5.5 months. So
That's
we made
nuts.
more money than all the years combined.
Wow.
But like that amount also just dollar for dollar was like, oh, that
Yeah.
covers the adoption,
And we
I was
had-
thinking,
Yeah,
a gift from God.
and people were pouring in. People.
Yes.
you know.
His foster family
Yep.
blessed us, and yeah.
Wow.
It was really, really.
I wonder if Cali's doing that right now with the fires. Are they relocating people?
They are. Oh,
The
definitely.
tough part with some of it is when you have the North Carolina stuff and the FEMA involvement stuff
Right.
with insurance, and then with Southern California, it's hard because this section in your home insurance, and you could check if you own a home, it's called the additional living expense, or it's the
Category D.
Category D, and that is how much you have to should something happen to your house and you need to go somewhere else, that's how much you have to spend somewhere else, including anything that would be outside of your lifestyle. So
Got it.
if you stay at a hotel, that's fine. But then it's like you can expense dinners there. You can expense all these things because you don't have a kitchen.
Oh, wow.
You could have your laundry sent out because you don't have a laundry room or whatever. So that usually people are like, oh, $100,000 in there, that's fine. When we first bought a house, we were like $100,000 in ALE, great.
Sounds like a lot, yeah.
Because if something's going to happen to your house, you're thinking I'll be out for 3, maybe 6 months. Could find a great Airbnb for $8,000, $9,000, no problem. With the fires, not so. because if you had 100 grand in there, now you have to make that last 2 years.
Gee.
Or however
3
long
years.
your rebuild period is, right? Which is going to be wild.
They're saying 3 to 5 years, right?
And you're in one of the most expensive counties. So, like, there's no Airbnbs that you can get for $7 grand in that area. So now it's a little tougher of a situation.
Wow. So that's a good thing to know. Can you raise that, or is it set up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's not much money to do it. Like,
So you might as well
do it. We're always like, how much is it to go to 200K?
Yeah.
How much is it to go to 300K?
Yeah.
And usually it's like $20 extra a month.
I need to look into that for my house.
Yeah,
Wow.
sure.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
What's that called?
ALE.
ALE, okay.
Additional living expense.
Or category D, they call
That's
it.
good to know. Wow.
Yeah. Everyone that owns a home.
So everyone thinks it's heyday right now for iMTRs in LA, but it's actually not.
Oh, it's not?
No, because their ALE budgets are, 100,000 or 200,000 or whatever they are.
I would say like 10% of people had the coverage they need. Very, very. And then other people had second homes and third homes. So they're like, okay, well, that's fine. We're going to rebuild. We're going to go to Florida.
Right.
And then they'll just take every penny of their ALE for themselves. Like they'll pay themselves rent as much as they can.
That makes sense.
But you see a lot of people renting rooms and stuff because they just know their budgets can't last too
Yeah, hotels are overbooked. Yeah, it's crazy to see what's happened. What happened in North Carolina? Did people have coverage there with the floods or no?
Oh, bro, it was a bad
worst.
situation because so many of them didn't have flood insurance
Oh, wow.
because there was no flooding out
Right.
there. You're in the mountains, right?
Yeah,
So all of a
good
sudden
point.
This hurricane comes through and there's mudslides and crazy water everywhere. I mean, we went out there. I took a group out there probably a month or a month and a half after it happened.
Yeah.
And it was bad. Trees down everywhere, onto houses, through houses, mudslides into houses.
Damn.
Like you're just mucking, and it's nonstop. And this mud is it's like quicksand. It's crazy. And people are just like, insurance isn't doing anything because we didn't have flood insurance.
You would have to have like a specific, is like, oh, we see there's like wind damage that caused this. So there would be like little loopholes.
Yeah.
If your, roof blew off due to the wind, and that could be considered. But if it was flooding or if they consider act of God, it was like, oh no, you're in FEMA's hands, and then we all know how that.
FEMA gives you $700.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What's his name?
Depends on
Matt Von Swole that we follow on X. He's been like the X guy that talks
yeah.
everything about North Carolina. It is just shocking. I mean, there's some people that still haven't received their $700.
Have you guys been seeing all this Doge corruption?
It's
The Social Security one was crazy to me. Did you see that one?
What was the specific on this?
It came out like 2 days ago. Basically, there's
Well, they were like 200 years old. With
yeah.
Social Security.
millions
And
of
overseas.
people. Yeah, millions of people though. It wasn't just like a couple people. There was one guy that was 350, I think. Like, I want to meet that guy.
Those are the most vulnerable people in society. They deserve their money.
We just saw a meme yesterday. It was like, meet Fran. She's having a rough time right now. She survived the Titanic. She watched her husband dump tea into the Boston
Tea
Harbor.
Party.
Yeah.
And now she
lost
lost
two
her
sons.
Social Security.
She lost 2 sons in the Civil War, and now the administration's taking her Social Security away.
Crazy. That's where our tax
You know,
dollars.
like the dead people voting too.
Yeah.
The last like several elections. There's a lot of
Yeah,
dead
and
voters.
no one did anything about that.
I'm like, it has to be so
Well funded, and we see
Well-funded.
that it's been well funded.
Yeah.
I think everybody kind of knew that there's stuff going on.
We knew, but not this bad. And
No.
to see actual numbers now is like, we're no longer conspiracy theorists. Like, there's facts and data out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels good in a way too that it's finally
Sure
being
does.
exposed.
And more
Man.
is coming.
Shout out to Elon though. Trump's probably gonna help your guys' real estate market out too, right?
I think so.
We do think so too.
Yeah. I think
That's
so.
why we kind of, even though interest rates are high, we're still not scared to buy right now because I'm like, I think we'll be able to refinance in the next year or two. Like,
Right.
And then cost segregation, I'm sure, is going to come back 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to make it more lucrative for.
Yeah. So you guys are still buying.
Absolutely. Well, our margins are pretty strong. On IMTRs provide a pretty healthy margin.
Right.
So the things you're getting basically the margins of an STR without the constant turnover. So you don't have the headache, but you also don't have the turnover costs because every time you turn over an STR or an Airbnb or whatever, you got to pay the cleaners. You got to replace things that were broken. You got to,
Yeah, even sheets, towels, stains.
It's a lot more work.
It's a lot more work.
and you're dealing with people that are in there for just a few days. And so they might be, cranking up the AC or the heater or whatever.
smoking pot in the garage.
Yeah, I hear horror stories from every Airbnb guy I have on the show.
It can be bad. It can be bad. I mean, not everyone. We've done it. We've done it quite a bit. Used to.
It works in the right markets, right?
Yeah.
It does, and if you have safeguards in place, it's great.
Like I heard the vacation markets are good.
They're great.
I was gonna say, and if you have a really nice home, and then if you like pour luxury amenities into it, you're gonna be really.
Oh yeah, you should see the one I'm staying at tomorrow in Sedona. It's beautiful.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sedona's a great place.
Yeah, I can't wait. Need some time off, man. I've been grinding.
Good.
Working hard. Yeah, that's always been my issue. I get so focused on work. It actually like ruins my relationships and friendships sometimes. So I make sure to take vacations every year now. Because the first 5 years I worked, I didn't take a single vacation. Oof. And it destroyed all my friendships, my relationships with my parents. So now I'm like very aware of that.
That's great.
That's awesome because it gives you a glimpse into what parenthood's going to be like. Because so many parents run into the same problem, but it's too late. Like they don't get the pre-glimpse of it, right? So they're making money. You always ask them, what are they sacrificing all their life for? Oh, for my family, for my kids, right? But in hindsight, like you're losing that precious time that's irreplaceable with your kids, just grinding. And then all of a sudden your kids are 10, 12, all of a sudden 18, 21, and you're not even close with them. You don't even know what they love.
Right.
They don't know you because you've done so much for them, or at least in name you've done it for them. But the reality is, like,
they'd rather have time than anything else.
Wow, that's deep.
But it's true, I mean, you ask people, one of the main regrets that people have is just not savoring those early moments of childhood,
right,
with their kids, and it's crazy because again, you ask them why they're doing it. I'm doing it for my kids, for my family. But in reality, their family are the ones that suffer the most.
Damn. Yeah.
I can't even say how many people come up to us, like older people, and they see us out and about with our kids, and they come up and they go, "This is so precious. Cherish this time. It goes by so fast." We're like, "Yep, we know." One of y'all find us every day and tell us that.
Yeah.
So we have to believe it, But I think that also that generation really was like mom and dad were both working, and the kids were in public school, and they maybe met up for dinner, if that. So they do look back and go, "Man, I regret it." But I'm so grateful to be in this like era where we both are home. Like we don't even really like work from home. It's like we hardly work, but we're home. But it's so sweet. We know our kids. Like we're teaching them how to read. We're teaching them manners.
Oh, you homeschool them?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do that with mine, I think. Either homeschool or private.
There's no other way to go, I think. Because what ends up happening is...
The relationship is so special.
Yeah, and you're farming out your kid. I mean, I don't mean to be... offending you.
Cancel culture.
But really, what's going on is you're having someone else raise your kids, right? And then all of a sudden, you're like... I can't believe, my daughter did such and such to me. Can you believe the way that he spoke to me, our son?
So disrespectful.
No. Right.
But the fact is, they're learning, they're taking cues from other people, and you're expecting them to be on the same page as you, with the same standards,
right,
same behaviors. It's just not feasible. How can you farm out your kid to be mentored in life and how to act? Mind your P's and Q's, and then. But you're not investing at all. So you're not pouring into them what your values are. They come back with someone else's values, and then what happens? Like you're just not on the same page.
Conflict, right? Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
And I hope it gets revamped. I think the education is going to get revamped because it's so bad right now. America's like, we spend by far the most money. We're so far below all the other developed nations in our education. So I feel like it will, but it's like, imagine if we could have something like this where we go, we feel like we know Sean because we get to see him every day. We know his values. We know blah, blah, blah. I would hire someone like Sean to teach my kids how to whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. Kind of like Ryan. I think Ryan Panetta is saying he's trying to develop something for kids that are, you pick your teachers based on their values and based on like their success in life. You're not picking people just like pick the school and then whatever you get for your kids, you meet your teacher on that day. Thanks for raising my kids. See you later. Yeah. But it would be so cool to, pick, wow, this guy is so good at AI and all this. I want him to teach my kids.
100%. Oh. I remember ratemyprofessors.com. Did you guys use that? Yeah, that was a good one.
That was so good. Does that still exist?
I don't know if it does. I used it for sure.
Oh, I used it too.
Yeah. I mean, that was important. because there were some Fs and some bad grades on that site.
And sometimes you use it for the wrong reason. Like, he's super easy, never changes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but there should be a site like that for teachers, not just like professors in college.
And teachers should get paid more if they're really good.
If they're good, yeah. It should be results driven.
Totally.
Yeah, because right now it's backwards thinking. All of them are on the same salaries and they get paid for longevity, but no results.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Like, why does longevity matter if the results are the same or worse, right?
Or worse, yes.
Yeah, because we're grading like the worst in math and reading that we've ever graded in.
They say most 8th graders are functionally illiterate.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild. It makes no sense.
I'm impressed you guys have time to homeschool 4 kids and run this business.
Well, people have this idea of what homeschooling is. Like, oh, it's so hard.
Well, and what running a business is, because our business is not really like that hands-on. We hired somebody to do the management.
Yeah. Yep.
So really, you do the financials.
Yeah.
And what else? I mean, I do take bookings.
Okay.
So I like check my email a few times a day and stuff like that. But it's not. We're not.
Hands-on.
We live like, I mean, we're hands-on to an extent, but
Yeah.
we have boundaries in place because what's most important to us is family time, exposure to the world, building into people, pouring out resources, being a blessing.
Yeah.
Really, so pouring into our family and then pouring into people outside of our family is what we're here for.
I love that. Yeah, and real estate is pretty, I don't like the word passive, but, it's almost there, right?
It is. It largely is. If you compare it to any 9 to 5,
Yeah.
I mean, it's very passive. Nothing's passive.
Yeah, nothing's
per se.
truly passive.
Yeah.
Like, we could get a text from our manager and say, hey, this house needs this. Is it cool if I send the plumber? It's like, yes, go ahead.
Right.
To me, that's like pretty passive. I still am that
Yeah,
lunch.
compared to most businesses, you're not trading your time for money, basically.
And that's it. And most people are absolutely trading their time for money.
Yeah.
And the killer is, money comes and goes, but time only goes.
Mm.
And so, I mean, you're left trading your most finite resource, the most valuable resource you have, for money.
But wouldn't you also say, like, a lot of your friends or people that are like multi-millionaires, they're still always asking you, like, bro, I want to live, you're so free, you do so much. And he's like, dude, you could be that way too. You have more money, you make more money than I do. Like, what's the holdup? Even real estate people.
It's a boundary issue. It's that people won't protect what's most important. That's what it comes down to. So they're just squeaky wheel gets the oil. That's what's happening. So whatever's pulling on them the hardest, that's what they're giving themselves to. So work, I got to do this for work. Deadline this, deadline that. But the fact is, your kids have a deadline every day.
Yeah.
Or like, then you're on the brink of divorce. So then you're like, now it's
exactly. Shift
counseling.
Yeah. I used to work 7 days a week, but I had to give up weekends to save my relationship.
You used to work.
Yeah, I used to work 7 days a week, 15 to 18 hours a day. And the fact she stuck with me through that for 5 years is crazy.
This must be a good girl.
Yeah, she really has my back. So, yeah.
She's a fiance, that's why.
It was tough for me because I love working, but I had to do it to save our relationship.
So how do you view life now compared to back then?
I'm happier. My health is way better. Back then, I couldn't even probably run like a mile. Like, I was a twig. I was super unhealthy. Mentally, wasn't even healthy there, too. So I'm way better overall and happier. Yeah. So I gave up making a little less money, but I think overall, I'm way, way happier and healthier.
I think that's what you find. It's just our Uber driver this morning, right? He went to the Philippines, and he said, like, 80% of the people over there are poor but happy. Over here,
80% of the people here are
rich and unhappy.
Wow, that's deep. Yeah, because if you zoom out, even if you only make $50K a year in America, you're top 1% in the world.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty interesting.
Yep.
But we're one of the unhappiest, right?
And I think that's a picture of what we were talking about earlier, that everyone's chasing after these finite things and these theoretical points of value. But once you get there, there's nothing.
Nothing. And comparison is dangerous. Man, social media makes it easy, but it's dangerous.
Yeah, comparisons, it's a big killer, and everyone's doing it. I mean, I struggled with it for a long time. I still find myself looking over my shoulder or even subconsciously, comparing myself to something or someone.
Right.
But it is killer. Like, you got to break out of that. It's just once people can realize that they have a certain gifting that's just theirs. They have they have a destiny on their life. I believe that God created each person individually and with purpose, with individual purpose, you know. And I think when someone can grasp that and understand that they're not their job, they're not their accolades, they're not their car or their house or their business, whether those things are great, like whether it's a Lambo or a Pinto, whether it's a failing business or, you know, top 1% in the world, BlackRock, whatever.
Yeah.
When you can realize that you're not that, then you can truly be free from yourself and understand, like, I was made for relationship and I'm special. I'm unique. There's only one of me and I don't have to compare myself. I just need to learn to be the best self that I am. Take the gifts and stop squandering them, because when I'm chasing after somebody else and comparing myself to them, I'm leaving my gifts and my unique offerings to the world behind.
Right.
I'm neglecting them, you know, and the world needs those things. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here. You're offering something that I can't offer, that she can't offer. And if you don't offer it, then it's not going to be offered.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you can't copy your way to the top.
You can't.
Doesn't work long
You can
term.
try, but in the end, it's not going to be fulfilled.
Yeah, long term it never works, because I used to try to do that, but now I'm on my own path, you know.
Word.
Guys, it's been awesome. Where can people learn from you, keep up with you, figure out where to find you?
Yeah, so we got vettedhomes.com now, where we're teaching people how to do insurance midterm rentals. So we've got this course. It's our third iteration now. We're working with two partners of ours, Kelly and Jason. They're amazing people. They're the first people that we taught how to do this.
Oh, wow.
To, and they came back to us about a year and a half ago. And they're like, too many people need us and want us, and we don't have enough time. Do you think we can put something together to, like, get it out to more people? And so we're like, yeah, let's do it. So we put together this course, and we got this community. I think we got like around 80 people now in the community.
Nice.
We're on school, and it's awesome. We're
very in depth, like everything related to insurance midterm rental,
Yep.
start to finish.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So we're teaching people how to do it there. So if anyone's interested in learning about insurance midterm rentals, it's vettedhomes.com. Our heart behind it is just like, this is what allows us to live a free life. It's not even, money's great, but it's the freedom that it allows.
And really, there's some people in our community that have just one, and it's changed their life. Like, they left their primary house, they rented it out insurance midterm, and, like, say their mortgage is $4,000 and they're getting 12. So they're using that extra money to travel the world, like, do whatever.
Yeah.
And it's life changing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's $8,000 a month. Yeah, that's 6 figures a year.
yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's just like that for how we got into it with our condo. You know,
Right.
that was life changing,
For sure.
and it shifted our mindset.
And that's why I love Vetted. I feel like that's my heart, is like, if we could just set people free themselves one at a time, like one house or two houses. It's not about being a billionaire and, like, buying a whole city.
Right.
But just, like, if you have, like, one or two rental houses that you want to do really well, take care of people really well, could be a cool thing.
I love it. I love
We're
it.
at, like,
guys.
inning number 1 in iMTR, so now's the time to get in.
Dude,
Let's go.
We're at the beginning of MTRs. It's a fun sector. to-
Beautiful. We'll link everything below. Thanks for coming on, guys. That was fun.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. Check them out, guys. See you next time.